So now when I see young couples, I tell them, please, like, don't put it off. Especially if you're a young woman, don't put it off. You can always have a career. You can always, go back to work. You can never just go back to having children. And they grow so fast and so quickly, but I was praying, both of us were, we were really excited to just expand.
Breaking tonight, Erika Kirk drops a bombshell pregnancy announcement just 8 weeks along, but it's only 10 weeks since her husband Charlie was taken from this world in a tragedy that shook the nation. The math doesn't add up, and the internet is already pointing fingers directly at Vice President J.D. Vance as the man who might just be the secret father. This isn't just gossip, it's a political earthquake waiting to happen, and the tremors are being felt from the halls of Turning Point USA all the way to the White House.
Whenever the authority says something and not prod any further, we can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay? And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with Charlie.
We've seen the timeline, and it's impossible to ignore. Charlie Kirk's life was cut short on September 10th, 2025, during a campus event in Utah. Just 70 days later, Erika Kirk steps onto a national stage, not just as the grieving widow, but as the newly appointed CEO of her late husband's empire, and now as a woman carrying a child whose conception timeline doesn't align with her marriage. The questions are explosive. Who is the father? And why is Erika, a woman who just lost everything, moving so swiftly into the spotlight, with a pregnancy announcement that feels less like a personal revelation and more like a calculated move? The speculation isn't just idle chatter. It's fueled by a series of moments that, when strung together, paint a picture that's hard to unsee. There was that hug, the one between Erika and J.D. Vance at the University of Mississippi on October 29th. It wasn't just a polite embrace, it was a lingering, emotional moment that had the internet dissecting every frame. Erika's fingers in his hair, his hands on her waist. This wasn't the body language of mere allies. It was the kind of intimacy that sparks rumors, especially when the widow herself tells a crowd, "I do see some similarities of my husband in Vice President J.D. Vance." Those words, delivered with a trembling voice, now echo like a confession.
Toast. But she didn't call for war. Erika did not call for war. In fact, she did the exact opposite, which is what was so stunning. It was unbelievable. The forgiveness that she granted, the strength that it took for her to call for that forgiveness, it's just unmatched, and it really made a difference. And I was being serious when I tweeted that I think it was the most consequential speech in American history.
And then there's Usha Vance, the second lady, who's been noticeably absent from the public eye in recent weeks. When she did appear at Charlie Kirk's memorial, she was holding Erika's hand, a gesture of solidarity or something more. Now, insiders are buzzing about Usha's wedding ring, or rather, the lack of it. Photos from her latest outing show her left hand bare, and in the world of political marriages, that's not just an oversight, it's a signal. A silent, devastating signal that something is cracking behind the scenes. Combine that with J.D. Vance's recent comments about hoping his Hindu wife would one day see things as I do regarding Christianity, and you've got a marriage under a microscope. The timing couldn't be worse, or more suspicious. But let's rewind, because this story doesn't start with a hug or a missing ring. It starts with Erika Kirk's rapid rise to power.
Charlie was not silenced. His movement is only beginning. The voices of millions globally have been awakened, furthering his cause and mission far beyond anyone's comprehension. We won't cower in fear. We will never surrender. We are resolved to live free from lies and seek out what...
Within days of Charlie's passing, she wasn't just inheriting his legacy. She was stepping into his shoes as the face of Turning Point USA, an organization built on conservative values and youth activism. Critics called it too soon, too bold, too calculated. But Erika didn't flinch. She leaned in, hosting events, making media appearances, and even hinting at Turning Point's support for J.D. Vance in 2028, a move that Charlie himself allegedly discussed with her before his end. That's not just continuity, that's a strategic pivot, one that ties Erika's future directly to Vance's political ambitions. And now, with a pregnancy that doesn't fit the timeline of her marriage, the narrative shifts from grief to something far more scandalous.
I don't think they don't not benefit.
Yeah.
But to me, it smelled like this crazy inside job.
Yeah.
And then now we're seeing all the people involved and the post-campaign of these people that are alleged or seem really suspicious. their rhetoric and what they're saying once they go out into the world, and they're everywhere.
The whispers started almost immediately. Social media sleuths pointed out Erika's public appearances, her interactions with high-profile married men, like that moment with country singer Jason Aldean at the Patriot Awards, where her embrace felt a little too familiar, a little too rehearsed. Then came the theories. She's husband shopping, one Reddit user claimed. Once she finds a suitable mark, she'll peel him away from his current life. It's harsh, it's speculative, but in the court of public opinion, it's also gaining traction. Because, let's be honest, Erika isn't behaving like a widow in mourning. She's behaving like a woman with a plan, one that might just involve the most powerful man in the conservative movement. And what about J.D. Vance? His political future hinges on his image as a family man, a devout Christian, the heir to Trump's legacy.
What happened to Charlie Kirk was horrific and a tragedy. What happened, as you mentioned, to the state legislators in Minnesota, that is horrific. It is a tragedy.
But if the rumors are true, if this child isn't Charlie's, then everything unravels. His base, built on traditional values and moral clarity, won't tolerate a scandal like this. The stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about a potential 2028 presidential run, a movement that's already fractured by infighting, and a widow who's either the victim of relentless speculation or the architect of her own controversy. Either way, the clock is ticking, and the questions are only getting louder. Then there's the haunting layer to all of this, Charlie Kirk himself. In texts revealed by Candace Owens, Charlie predicted his own tragic end years before it happened. He spoke of dreams, of a gut feeling that he wouldn't survive the revolution he was leading. He even compared himself to Moses, a prophet who wouldn't live to see the promised land. Those words, sent in 2018, now read like a chilling premonition. And if Charlie suspected his life was in danger, who did he confide in? Who knew the risks he was taking? Because the people closest to him, Erika, J.D. Vance, the inner circle of Turning Point, are the same ones now entangled in a web of secrets and scandals that feel too convenient to ignore. Erika's own words add another layer of intrigue. In an interview with Megyn Kelly, she revealed she was praying to God she was pregnant when Charlie was taken from her. That was going to be the ultimate blessing out of this catastrophe, she said. But here's the thing. If she was praying for a child in September, and she's only 8 weeks along now, the timeline doesn't just raise eyebrows, it demands answers. And when you factor in the rapid ascent, the public displays of affection, the missing wedding ring, and the political alliances being forged in the shadows, you start to wonder, was this pregnancy the blessing Erika hoped for, or the insurance policy she needed? The pieces are all there, scattered like clues in a mystery that's unfolding in real time. There's the viral hug, the bare finger, the pregnancy math that doesn't add up, and the political machine that suddenly got a lot to lose. But here's the question that no one's asking yet. If the timeline is this tight, if the connections are this undeniable, what conversations happened before Charlie's end? Who stands to gain if J.D. Vance's marriage crumbles, if Erika secures her place at the top of Turning Point, if a new narrative replaces the old one? Because in the world of power and politics, nothing happens by accident. And right now, the pieces are moving faster than anyone can track. The only question left is who's pulling the strings, and what happens when the truth finally comes to light.
Are you talking about Charlie's? So, I don't listen to Candace's show, but I am 100% convinced that Charlie was by Tyler Robinson, a crazed leftist who him because he didn't like Charlie's messaging on the trans.
The deeper we dig, the more Erika Kirk's pregnancy announcement feels less like a personal milestone and more like a chess move in a high-stakes game of power and perception. Insiders familiar with Turning Point's inner workings are whispering that this isn't just about a baby. It's about securing alliances, locking in influence, and ensuring that Erika's position at the helm of the organization is unshakable. Remember, this is the same woman who, just weeks after her husband's tragic end, declared that Turning Point's support for J.D. Vance in 2028 was in the works. That's not grief speaking, that's strategy. And when you connect the dots, her rapid ascent to CEO, her public embrace of Vance, the pregnancy timeline that defies logic, it's hard not to wonder if Charlie Kirk's legacy is being repurposed for a narrative far bigger than anyone imagined.
For information, to research, and to investigate, and nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good, because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel
Critics are already pointing out the glaring inconsistencies. Erika's pivot from mourning widow to power player has been so swift, so seamless, that even her most loyal supporters are scratching their heads. This isn't the behavior of someone lost in sorrow. It's the behavior of someone with a plan. And that plan, according to former allies, might just involve leveraging Charlie's influence to propel JD Vance into the Oval Office, with Erika pulling the strings from behind the scenes. But here's the twist. If this pregnancy is tied to Vance, then the political fallout isn't just about an affair. It's about a calculated effort to bind two of the most powerful figures in conservative America together in a way that can't be undone. The question isn't just who the father is, it's what Erika stands to gain if the answer becomes public.
And I want to be very clear that I believe, in fact, I know that towards the end, Charlie was fighting for custody of himself. I want to say that. I want to say that plainly, and there are lies that are being told and they need to be slapped down right now.
And then there's Candace Owens, a woman who was once so close to Charlie Kirk that she claims to have known his deepest fears. Now, she's one of Erika's most vocal critics, publicly questioning her motives and even suggesting that Erika's actions don't align with those of a grieving widow. Owens hasn't minced words either. She's accused Erika of being more interested in husband shopping than honoring Charlie's memory. And she's not alone. Former Turning Point insiders are starting to speak out too, painting a picture of a woman who's less interested in mourning than in maneuvering. The rift is real, and it's growing. When even your late husband's closest allies start doubting your intentions, you know the narrative has spun out of control. But let's talk about that hug again, because it's not just a moment, it's a pattern. The way Erika and JD Vance embraced on that stage in Mississippi wasn't just emotional, it was loaded with subtext. His hands on her waist, her fingers in his hair. This wasn't the body language of two people sharing a moment of mutual respect. It was the body language of intimacy, of familiarity, of something far more personal than politics. And when you factor in Usha Vance's sudden absence of her wedding ring, the picture becomes even clearer. Marital trouble doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It happens when there's a reason for it. Could Erika be that reason? The timeline certainly suggests it's possible.
You told your children that Charlie was going on a work trip with Jesus. Are they still asking, where's Daddy?
Yes, my daughter continues to ask, but it's really sweet because I keep explaining to her a few things. And I said, if ever you want to talk to Daddy, you just look up to the sky and start talking to him. He can hear you. He's always in your heart.
Utquel's even more telling is how Erika has handled the backlash. Instead of retreating, she's leaned into the controversy, doubling down on her public appearances and her role as the face of Turning Point. She's even gone so far as to demand transparency in the trial of Tyler Robinson, the man accused of ending Charlie's life, insisting that cameras should be allowed in the courtroom. It's a bold move, one that positions her as a champion of justice, but it also keeps her in the spotlight, ensuring that the conversation stays focused on her grief, on her leadership. It's masterful, really. But it's also raising eyebrows, because when you're this calculated, this strategic, people start to wonder what you're hiding. And then there are the whispers about Erika's role in Charlie's world before his end. Former associates have started to question whether she was always meant to be more than just his wife. Was she a partner in his political ambitions? Or was she positioning herself to take over all along? The fact that she's now at the center of a scandal that could rewrite the future of the conservative movement suggests that her influence was never just about standing by her man. It was about stepping into his shoes, and maybe even pushing him out of them. That's a dark theory, but in a world where power is everything, it's not outside the realm of possibility. The bigger question, though, is what this all means for JD Vance. His political future hinges on his image as a family man, a devout Christian, the moral compass of the MAGA movement. But if the rumors about his relationship with Erika are true, that image crumbles. His base won't tolerate a scandal like this, not when it involves betrayal, not when it involves a woman who's become the face of their movement's future. And if Usha Vance is indeed on the verge of walking away, well, that's a political disaster waiting to happen. The Vance's marriage has always been a cornerstone of his public persona. Without it, he's just another politician with a tarnished reputation. But here's where things get even more complicated. Erika isn't just playing the game, she's changing it. By tying herself to Vance, by positioning herself as the guardian of Charlie's legacy, she's ensuring that no matter what happens, she remains relevant. And if the pregnancy is indeed Vance's, then she's not just relevant, she's indispensable. Because a child ties them together in a way that no political alliance ever could. It's the ultimate power play, one that ensures her place in the conservative elite for years to come. Of course, none of this would matter if the timeline didn't raise so many questions. 8 weeks pregnant, 10 weeks after Charlie's end. It's a math problem that doesn't add up. And in the court of public opinion, that's all the evidence people need to start drawing their own conclusions.
The fallout from Charlie Kirk's has spread to the workplace. People are getting fired for comments that seem to celebrate or glorify the assassination of the MAGA activist and father of 2 young children.
The internet has already convicted JD Vance in the court of speculation. The only thing left is for the truth to come out. And when it does, it's going to be explosive. But let's not forget the bigger picture here. This isn't just about a pregnancy or a scandal or even a political career. It's about the future of the conservative movement. Turning Point USA was Charlie Kirk's brainchild, his legacy. Now, it's in Erika's hands. And if she's using that legacy to propel Vance to the presidency, then the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't just a personal drama. It's a battle for the soul of the movement. And if Erika's playing the long game, then we're all just pawns in it. As the rumors build and the speculation swirls, one thing is becoming painfully clear. This scandal isn't going away. It's only going to get bigger, messier, and more impossible to ignore. The question is no longer if the truth will come out, it's what happens when it does. Will J.D. Vance's political ambitions survive the fallout? Will Erika's grip on Turning Point hold? Or will the backlash from Charlie's loyalists tear it all down? And what about Usha Vance, the woman caught in the middle of a storm she never saw coming? Her silence speaks volumes, but for how much longer? We're watching a story unfold that could rewrite the rules of power, loyalty, and betrayal in conservative America. But here's the thing about scandals like this. They don't stay contained. They spread, they consume, and they leave nothing untouched. So we'll leave you with this. If the timeline is this tight, if the connections are this undeniable, then what else don't we know? What conversations happened in the shadows? What deals were made before Charlie's end? And who stands to gain the most if J.D. Vance's world comes crashing down? Drop a comment below. Do you think Erika's pregnancy is the ultimate power move? Or is there more to this story than meets the eye? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because when the next bombshell drops, you'll want to be the first to see it. Until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, in the world of power and politics, nothing is ever as it seems.